I can't tell people what to post or what to say, but Nicki Minaj damn sure needs to stay away from anything, posting anything about kids, trans or otherwise. She supports a dude that is on the Epstein list 1,000 times. She's actually married to a registered pedophile.
Nicki Minaj just made a move nobody saw coming, and it's splitting her fan base right down the middle. December 21st, 2025 brought the queen of rap to a major conservative political gathering in Phoenix, Arizona as a surprise guest, and this wasn't a concert or an award show. Thousands of attendees who align with the MAGA movement filled the venue alongside right-wing commentators and political figures, and there was Nicki sitting on stage having a conversation with the event's host about politics. Nothing about her words felt cautious. The president, she told the crowd, is someone she has the utmost respect and admiration for, and the current administration makes her proud to be American.
I have the utmost respect and admiration for our president. He has, I don't know if he even knows this, but he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys and to win and to do it with your head held high and your integrity intact.
Leadership in Washington, according to Nicki, has given people hope that you can beat the bad guys and come out on top with your integrity intact. A well-known Democratic politician became her next target, as she mocked his ambitions and read her own tweets criticizing him out loud on stage, and that's when she also weighed in on controversial social issues that made a lot of her fans uncomfortable.
She has gone so far to turn against her own fan base. She literally, like, the LGBTQ is like her ride or dies, right? They do all her dirty work for her, right? And she went on to say that, like, trans people are not normal.
The LGBTQ community has supported her for over a decade, and for many of them this moment landed hard. The Barbs, as her fan base calls itself, has historically included a huge LGBTQ presence, and they've been ride or die for her through every controversy, which meant watching her now felt like a betrayal. Days later, her Instagram went dark. The backlash hit fast and it hit heavy. But here's the thing, the bigger question everyone started asking wasn't just about her politics. People wanted to know why now and why this hard of a pivot, and to understand that you have to look at what's been going on behind the scenes. Rewind to 2018 and Nicki Minaj sounded like a completely different person. Government policies that separated immigrant children from their parents at the border pushed her to speak out, and she posted on social media about her own experience. Trinidad and Tobago is where she was born, and she arrived in the United States when she was just 5 years old without her family having legal status at the time. Her words described how terrifying it must be for those kids not knowing if their parents were okay, not knowing if they would ever see them again, and she called on leadership to stop the policy. Certain politicians had already felt her criticism through interviews and even music she released, taking shots at them. Double standards in how powerful men were treated compared to women in the industry didn't sit right with her, and she called it out publicly. That version of Nicki feels distant now. Her connection with the current administration's messaging around religious persecution, specifically violence against Christians in West Africa, appears to be what shifted her thinking. November 2025 brought praise from her for the president on social media after he drew attention to the issue, and an invitation to speak at a panel at the United Nations followed, where she discussed religious violence alongside government officials. Her posts started supporting the administration and criticizing the other side, and that's when her alignment with MAGA became impossible to ignore. The host at the political event asked her about this shift, and Nicki put it simply by saying, "It's okay to change your mind." Feeling tired of being pushed around and believing this administration has heart and soul were her explanations.
What it's shown me personally is sometimes, you know, even in the worst feeling times in your life, you think that you're never gonna come back from it, but you do. And our president shows that. He's been through every single thing a person could be through, having to constantly be lied on. It's not really that funny. Until you are in that person's shoes that's being lied on, you'll never understand what it feels like.
A lot of people online aren't buying the religious issue as the whole story though, and they're pointing to someone else entirely. Kenneth Petty has carried controversy into Nicki's life since they went public with their relationship. Queens is where they first knew each other growing up, and a brief teenage romance eventually gave way to years apart before they reconnected in 2018. Marriage came in 2019, and a son arrived in 2020. But Petty's past has followed them everywhere they go. 1995 brought a serious conviction when Petty was just 16 years old, involving a girl who was the same age, and nearly 4 years in prison followed. That conviction means he has been required to register with authorities wherever he lives for the rest of his life, and that's not where his legal troubles end. Another serious incident years later resulted in someone losing their life, which meant additional time behind bars until his release in California became their home in 2019, but Petty failed to update his registration with the state, and that failure is a federal offense. A traffic stop in Beverly Hills revealed he wasn't properly registered, and after back and forth in court, the 2022 sentence came down as 1 year of house arrest, 3 years of probation, and a significant fine. The woman involved in the 1995 case came forward publicly in 2021 and filed a lawsuit against both Petty and Nicki, claiming harassment and intimidation. Her account described people approaching her multiple times after Nicki and Petty got together and offering money to change her story, with one offer reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars. Fear for her safety forced her to relocate multiple times, according to her claims. Nicki's name was removed from that lawsuit in 2022, but the allegations left a mark on her reputation. And this is where it gets worse, because the legal problems didn't stop there. A 2019 concert in Frankfurt, Germany is now threatening to cost Nicki her home. A fan getting past security and making it onto the stage during a show started what allegedly happened next. Nicki reportedly confronted a female security guard she blamed for the incident after the performance ended, and according to court filings, she was upset with the guard and began recording her on her phone. Thomas Weidenmuller, a male security guard, stepped in at that point and told Nicki it wasn't fair for the guard's reputation to be damaged on social media over one incident. A shoe flew in his direction, according to Weidenmuller, thrown by Nicki, but it missed him. What nobody expected came later when Weidenmuller was invited to a private area backstage. His account describes talking with Nicki and Petty when Petty positioned himself out of view and suddenly struck him without warning. The hit left him seriously injured, according to Weidenmuller, and an ambulance took him to the hospital, where multiple surgeries followed. Additional medical procedures and reconstruction are still needed, according to his statements. The lawsuit Weidenmuller filed against Nicki and Petty in 2022 ran into problems from the start. Court documents show their legal team made multiple attempts to notify them but never succeeded, trying their gated community in Calabasas, trying to mail the documents, and eventually publishing the notice in a newspaper. Neither Nicki nor Petty ever responded. Over $500,000 is what a judge awarded Weidenmuller through a default judgment in March 2024, and as of December 2025, that money still hasn't been paid, while the amount keeps growing with interest. A judge is now considering forcing the sale of Nicki's mansion to satisfy the judgment, with a hearing scheduled for early 2026, and court filings indicate selling the home would more than cover what's owed. Her husband's situation covers a lot of ground, but there's another family member whose legal troubles have also made headlines. Nicki's older brother Jelani Mirage is currently serving a lengthy prison sentence. 2015 brought his arrest and charges involving serious crimes against a minor who was part of his household at the time. The case went to trial in 2017 and lasted about a month, with the defense team arguing the accusations were fabricated. Their claim pointed to an attempt to get money from Nicki Minaj, but prosecutors rejected this entirely. November 2017 delivered the verdict, and Jelani was found guilty. Early reports suggested Nicki would testify on her brother's behalf during the trial, but she did not take the stand. 25 years to life is what the judge handed down in January 2020, and Jelani has tried to appeal his conviction multiple times since then. Every single appeal has been rejected, and he remains incarcerated to this day. His case has hung over Nicki's public image for years, and now combined with everything else, people are starting to ask questions. Nicki Minaj, pivoting so dramatically to MAGA right now, has the internet full of theories, and none of what follows is verified, because these are speculations circulating online rather than established facts. One theory centers on helping her husband's situation, since Kenneth Petty still has to register with authorities wherever they go, and every time they move to a new state, he has to go through the process again. Building political connections in hopes of eventually getting his situation addressed is what some people online believe Nicki could be trying to do. Her brother is where another theory points. Jelani Mirage has been trying to appeal his conviction for years without success, and some have speculated Nicki might be looking for influence that could help his case. A third theory puts the focus on Nicki herself.
Nicki Minaj has gone full-blown MAGA on Twitter, or X, right? And I think it's because she's scared of deportation. She is starting to get worried with this immigration policy because, mind you, she's been in the United States since she was 5 years old, and she's still not a citizen.
U.S. citizenship is something she has confirmed publicly she does not have, despite living in the country since she was 5 with a green card. A 2024 livestream had her calling it crazy that after paying millions in taxes, she still wasn't a citizen, and she joked about deserving honorary citizenship. The current administration taking a harder stance on immigration has led some to speculate that aligning herself with MAGA could protect her status or improve her chances of finally becoming a citizen. No evidence supports any of these theories, and they remain speculation. Nicki's own explanation sounds much simpler, as she told the host at the political event she was tired of being pushed around, and felt the current administration has heart and soul with leadership in Washington that feels like people she can relate to. Her stance on religious persecution drew her in, according to her words. Believing that explanation or thinking something else is going on comes down to each person, but the reality is, Nicki's legacy now sits wrapped up in this conversation. The LGBTQ community celebrated her for years alongside fans who saw her as someone breaking barriers and speaking her mind, and many of those same fans now feel abandoned. Her Instagram remains deactivated and the lawsuits continue while the conversation about her motives shows no signs of stopping. Only Nicki knows the full story, but whatever happens next, the Queen of Rap finds herself in the most complicated chapter of her career.